On the biggest stage in the world, FanDuel's changing the game because sometimes your player gets subbed off and your bet goes with them. Not anymore. With FanDuel's Super Sub, if your player's subbed out, your bet stays in. That's right. If your player leaves the match, your bet continues on with the substitute. So you're still in it until the final whistle. Visit FanDuel.com. Get started now. Let there be goals this summer on FanDuel.
21 plus select states for Kansas in affiliation with Kansas Star Casino. 18 plus DCKYWY. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 1-800-MY-RESET. 888-789-7777. Visit ccpg.org/chat. Connecticut. Visit mdgamblinghelp.org. Maryland. Visit gamblinghelplinema.org. Call 800-327-5050. Massachusetts. Call 877-8-HOPE-NY. Text HOPE-NY in New York. Call 877-770-7867. Louisiana.
Visit FanDuel.com. Get started now. Let there be goals this summer on FanDuel.
Listen, all you New Yorkers. Taxi.
Okay, man, we're looking around.
This is the 77 WABC minicast.
President Trump just a little bit ago signed the funding bill. So the funding for ICE and Customs and Border Protection after so much fighting by the Democrats who, in a time like this, as we're talking about, didn't want to fund it. But there were enough votes and President Trump signed it. And he said, no more of these politics by Democrats. We have to keep America safe. And joining us now is Todd Lyons, a former acting ICE director. Mr. Director, we love having you here on the show. First of all, great news finally that this happened. You could tell there was so much frustration in President Trump's voice that it took this long on something that should be an easy decision.
Yeah, Rita, this really took too long. And, kudos to the men and women of DHS, Border Patrol, CBP, and ICE for continuing to be true patriots, go out there and do their job, put their lives on the line every day for having no funding. But it was super bad that the fact that it took this long to have, funding done to do this crucial mission that keeps America safe. And the president, right, we needed this money. And it's going to be a great thing now to have this $70 billion for the rest of the president's term. We're not going to have to deal with being a political football again. And we're going to be able to get back out there and keep America safe.
Talk about also what it does, too. I mean, what does this mean? And how long does this mean this battle is over and all of this rhetoric? I mean, we're hearing all the Democrats, everything. In fact, I was watching last night, Graham Plattner, the guy who won on the Democratic side of Maine, almost right away, he talks about mass men swooping people off the street.
Well, yeah, it's not going to stop ICE or CBP, I can tell you that. It's going to fund us through the rest of President Trump's term. We're not going to have any of these threats of shutdown. We're going to be able to do our job. We're going to be able to pay not only the law enforcement officers, but our great intel and our support analysts that are behind us. We're going to be able to afford new technology, make sure the men and women of ICE have the right equipment to keep us safe. But not only that, we're going to be allowed to do our job, right? And now, especially now with FIFA World Cup coming, with, America 250, it's crucial to have like special agents from Homeland Security Investigations and Secret Service out there doing the job to make sure nothing like a 9/11 ever happens again. And having this funding is key. Unfortunately, Rita, I don't think the Democrats are going to stop with this kind of rhetoric. We heard Mayor Mondami right away, Governor Hochul, they continue to try to block ICE at every turn. And, Secretary Mullins doing a great job of getting out there and explaining exactly what the men and women of DHS, specifically ICE, does every day. And until Democrats really put aside the political hate of the law enforcement mission of ICE, we're going to have to deal with this rhetoric.
Yeah, it is incredible. Judge Weinberg.
Good to talk to you again, Director. The DSA, Democratic Socialists of America, have a unit. They call themselves Red Rabbit. And these guys are trained in military tactics to confront the federal law enforcement. And it's only going to escalate into violence. And I think it's up to law enforcement to go after these guys on criminal conspiracy theories, because it seems to me this is insurrectionary conduct on their part. Your thoughts?
Oh, Judge, 100% it is. And, I just saw an article today that kind of my name popped back up in the news about a letter we answered to Democratic Party about databases we kept on individuals tracking ICE. We don't keep databases on people exercising their First Amendment. But to your point, Judge, people that impede with law enforcement, interfere with law enforcement, threaten law enforcement, engage in law enforcement, those are domestic terrorists, right? Those are criminals. You can't just walk up to an NYPD officer in the middle of Times Square when they're doing their job and impede them or attack them. Same with an ICE officer, CBP officer, Border Patrol agent. So we're going to take action on them. And I think the president's doing the right call. I think Secretary Mullen's doing the right call, allowing, DOJ to go full bore and prosecute and look into these groups, especially groups that are being well funded from the left, unfortunately, right? We see a lot of money, a lot of organization going into these protests and these organized groups, especially up in your neck of the woods there, up in Delaney Hall in Newark. That's just not your average citizen want to exercise their First Amendment right. Those that well-organized, planned attack on the men and women of law enforcement.
Yeah, and aren't of all the arrests being made, we've noted that in the last few sessions, is only one was from New Jersey. The rest are imported.
That's the point I wanted to make.
Yeah, it's very frustrating to think, right? If the people in Newark or New Jersey really had a problem or a beef with what was going on in Delaney Hall, I could see that, peaceful protests out front. But no, they're importing really domestic terrorism.
Paid political terrorists.
100%, Judge. You're 100% right.
Rudy Washington.
No, John was making the point that I was going to make, and that media gives this oxygen. I mean, because they never talk about the fact that
and
these
then what
people
they
are
do
imported.
is they spend $50,000, $100,000 getting these play actors, and then the media gives them advertising worth millions and millions and millions of dollars
and they know what's
around
going
the whole
on.
country, and everybody thinks, oh, this must be the right thing to do.
Right. Everybody, exactly, John.
Yeah, and that's what's frustrating, right, is you'll see it constantly play on a loop on various media outlets that it just seems like it's the right thing to do to stand in front of a law enforcement vehicle, to get up in the face of a law enforcement officer. It's okay to put your hands on them. It just automatically becomes the norm. But there's no media outlets in mainstream media that's, showing the ICE officers that are getting bit through their hands, getting bit in their arms, getting things thrown at them, rocks, when they actually show up with pickup trucks with broken up pieces of concrete that they're throwing at vehicles. We don't see that, right? You see these, all the poor protesters that are being indiscriminately sprayed with pepper spray. Well, if you don't stand in front of a law enforcement vehicle, you're probably not going to get pepper sprayed.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like, they just happen to be there. One of the things, too, also, before we let you go, Director Lyons, Todd Holman was on our show last week, and he was talking about how they're going to flood the zone in New York. And it goes right to the point that this new New York State, quote, sanctuary law is saying no local cooperation. So he said, we have to flood the zone because they're not handing them over in the jails. They're not handing them over here. We have to flood the zone because we're going to need now 5 or 6 times more the amount of men to get somebody that it would have been a simple transfer before.
Right. Reed, and that's the sad thing, too, because if you think about it, all they're asking, and Mr. Holman does a great job of pointing this out, they're already in jail because whether it be Suffolk County or NYPD or the transit cops, they arrested them and put them in jail because they're a public safety threat. So why not turn them over in a safe, secure environment to another law enforcement agency? It makes absolutely no sense to let a public safety threat that might escape and get away, it might be a false identity, some might be wanted in another country. Why would you let them back into the neighborhood to be a perpetrator again? It makes no sense. It doesn't make...
Todd Lyons, you see what's going on in Ireland. They're rebelling against their invaders.
It is. And, that incident in Belfast with that Somali migrant this weekend, I think it's very eye-opening when you have a wide-open border system with improper vetting. And unfortunately, we saw that previously under the last administration when you have, a porous border with improper vetting where you have to go back and try to figure out who you let in. And then when you have the opportunity to take custody of these individuals after they committed a crime, it absolutely makes no sense to the common man or woman why you would let them back out on the street to commit crime again.
Well, thank you so much for coming on, and keep fighting for America.
Yeah, thank you, Director. We love you. Thank you so much.
Great talking to you guys. Hope
You too. We'll look forward to always welcome here.